I have a whole bunch of other art scam stuff. I don't know why. Like recently, it's just been a lot of art scam drama. For some reason, these scammers do not stop scamming. So here we have the scammer, and the scammer writes, "Hi, do you do commissions?" And Lou says, "Yes, I do." Now, the scammer sent over, like DM'd one of Lou's really cool pieces. This piece looks amazing, of Lou's vampire OC called Ian, and scammer writes, "Would really love to get something like this." Now, Lou continues, "1. They pick your most famous or popular art as a reference. They don't know what you actually sell. Red flag number 2. They will pick a random popular character. They're not role players or anything. They're not here for the art in any level." In the screenshots, Lou writes, "I can try. This one is a personal piece and I don't usually do them as commissions, but I can work my best. May I see the character you'd like drawn?" And the scammer, in reply to the personal piece comment, says, "Really? That's cool. Thanks. Can you use Goku as the character?" Lou writes, "You asked me, what are the odds they really like Goku?" "Oh, well, you'll see. At this point, I checked their profile for anything that might indicate it, but as you see, you won't have to." The third red flag, they say they saw my TOS. On it, I state I only work with PayPal and Google Forms. So here's the DMs again. Lou says, "Sure can," in response to drawing Goku. "For the commissions, I work with Google Forms. They're in my commission post. I can only proceed after they're filled." And the scammer says, "Oh, okay, let me go check it out. Already saw your terms and conditions." Now, red flag number 4, Lou writes, "Random issue with payment method. They might have a real problem with it, but see, they'll never ever accept any other payment method such as Zelle, Cash App, Payoneer, Coffee, etc. I already knew this drill, so let's continue." So the scammer writes, "But I can't use any third-party apps because I have issues with my bank. I was scammed using a third-party app." And Lou writes, "I'm sorry about that. Sadly, I only work with PayPal." And scammer says, "Really? But I really want a commission." Also, they keep saying buh, like B-U-H. "I had an issue with my bank account, that's why." So Lou writes, red flag number 5. "I love playing dumb LMAO." Anyways, this scam revolves on them either sending you too much money and asking it back, or something like it. I won't be following through because I know it'll be annoying. Be adamant with your methods. Do not ever ban them for randos. I believe buh just means butts. Like, but they're just talking in like slang. I don't know, right? Like, I've never heard anybody use that in replacement for the word but I think that's what they're referring to. So Lou in the DMs writes, "Sadly, I only work with it. What payment methods do you have in mind?" And scammer writes, "A mobile check. It was referred by my bank manager." And Lou writes, "How does that work? I've never used it before." And scammer says, "Really?" And Lou says, "Yeah, PayPal's so handy, I just use it for commissions." This is such a huge red flag, okay? If they're unwilling to do any other reputable payment method, as in they don't want to do Zelle, I don't like taking Zelle personally with commissions and stuff because you need to give your phone number. And I'm not trying to give my phone number to people. I'll take PayPal or like Coffee or something like that. But that's weird that they're going through like mobile check. That's just not a very common way to receive payment over the internet through our commissions. It's just not. So in the thread, Lou writes, red flag number 6. They're so ready with the info on how the payment works, it's effing funny. The reason I personally use PayPal invoices, no any other payment within PayPal, is that they're safe for both me and the client. My rules are stated clearly. Make a TOS, I beg you, young artist. Oh my god, this is crazy. So the scammer in the DMs writes, "Yeah, I use PayPal. Also before, I can't read this. Before, I have some issues with my bank. That's why I don't use it anymore." And in response to Lou asking how mobile check works, the scammer writes, "Let me explain it to you then. Mobile deposit is just an easy way to deposit checks into your bank account by just sending the check to your mail, and then you log into your bank app, then select the mobile check option. Then you just take a picture of the check front and back, and then it goes through. No stress at all. I'm also new to it. I just started using it to pay for stuff online, LOL." And Lou says, "Oh, I see. Seems really handy too. Is it safe?" And the scammer says, "Yeah, it is. That's why I also use it because it's pretty safe and cool." Dude, look, bro. I've done mobile check deposits, okay? Like, it's a little confusing if you've never done it before. How come this scammer says they're very new to mobile check deposit, but suddenly has an entire essay to give you about how to do it? They hit you with that, like, MLA format 12, like, Times New Roman size 12 font double space shit. With this, like, pretty safe and cool and easy. It proceeds to give you like a really long-winded explanation on how to use it. Yeah, this is very weird. I'm just saying, okay? If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And if they're giving you an extremely long-winded, convoluted answer as to how they're gonna give you money, it's most likely a red flag. Like, I'm gonna straight up tell you, okay? Same thing if they're telling you that you need to go make like a stupid crypto wallet to go get money. Yeah, red flag. So in the thread, Lou writes, red flag number 7. They're not even a good scammer, LMAO. They refuse to go on my profile to get a link or read anything. I use Forms because it collects the client's requests and it's easier for me to read it all in one place. It also makes scammers bored. Here's the scammer. Again, in response to the vampire OC stating, "I'd love to have a sketch of this." And Lou writes, "Okay, for the information, I still need you to fill out the form." And the scammer says, "How would I do that? I didn't see the option there." And Lou says, "It's a Google form. The link is below since Twitter doesn't like links on the main tweet." And the scammer says, "Can't you send the link here?" I also have to say, this is a big red flag too. What do you mean, you, a scammer, you know exactly how to walk somebody through how to do a mobile check deposit, even though allegedly you're very new to that also, but you don't know how to find and fill out a Google form, which arguably is much easier to do. They're trying to play ignorance here, but you can't. I'm not falling for the ignorance when you are walking somebody through how to do a mobile check deposit. Also, a little baby flag. Like, it's not like a red flag, it's just a yellow flag. Is the fact they're asking for a sketch instead of like a full piece or whatever, right? Here's the thing. Obviously, there's people who commission sketches. So here, the reason why this is a little bit of a red flag, there are people with genuine intentions who just want sketches, right? But a lot of times, because of the rise of AI art, people would ask for a sketch and then take the sketch and then feed the sketch into AI to have AI complete the piece so that the piece can have origins of an actual artist, right? Because it was based off of an actual human sketch. But they don't want to pay for you to complete it because they're cheap. So they'll just take the sketch and feed it to AI. It's a thing that does happen. And so that's why, to me, it's a little bit of a red flag, maybe a beige flag if they ask for a sketch and then also have all of this other scammy behavior, right? Asking for a sketch on its own is not a bad thing. But scammers have done this and asked for a sketch for the sole purpose of feeding it into AI. And it's a thing that does happen. So that's like a little bit of a beige flag in my brain. Lou continues in the thread, red flag number 8. They're so disinterested on the art, they don't care for posing. Vibes, colors, nothing. Again, they're not here for the art. That's hilarious. Lou sent them some more commission info, being like, "There's info about sales and discounts on my post. I'd like you to check it out here." And the scammer says, "These questions are much, LOL." And Lou says, "They're what I need to know what to draw. Would you like not to answer them? The commission might not be as good since I need them for guidance." And the scammer says, "I can tell you all you need to know by asking," which is kind of weird. Here's the thing too, right? Like, there's two types of commissioners. Like people who commission artists and they know exactly what they want. So they tell the artist, "I want this, I want that, I want this character in this pose with this in the background." And then there's people who don't really care as much. But the vibes are different, right? Like, the people who don't really care kind of are just like, they have an attitude where they trust the artist. So they'll be like, "Hey, you're the artist, you're extremely talented, I trust you, and this is all I want is Goku, and I trust that you will make him look really cool. I will be pleasantly surprised no matter what you do." But this person is not like that. They're not letting go of the reins because they trust the artistic vision. They are sounding very tired and exasperated at having to give any artistic direction whatsoever or any answering any questions about the art. Like, they don't show any enthusiasm or excitement for the commission, which is weird because people who commission art typically are extremely enthusiastic and excited to get the art. So this is a big, big red flag. Tenacious, I saw a similar issue with an online friend on Instagram through a DM who does drawing commissions like that, who almost got scammed for sending money and giving it back to a different money transfer site that you're not familiar with. That is a huge scam too. Or Tenacious, what they also do too, backing up a little bit, where Lou says they will send you too much money, right? The thing is, if you do a mobile check system, right, this is the way the scammers will do it. This is how check fraud works, where you might be like, what do scammers get out of this, right? Which is a really, really valid question. Lou writing, "Anyways, the scam revolves on them either sending you too much money and asking you back or something like this." That is exactly what they do. That is one of the methods, right? They will send you too much money, and it's easy to do it with a fraudulent check. When you write a bad check, the way it works is, if you guys know banking, right? What a check is you write a check for a certain amount of money, and the check is a piece of document that says, "Hey, withdraw this amount of money from this bank account." The check is linked to a specific bank account. Let's say I write a check for $1,000, right? It comes out of bank account A, my bank account. The check is going to withdraw the money out of the bank account after the person deposits it and their bank registers the check, processes it. But there's a couple days for processing. So let's say I write a check for $1,000, but my bank account has $50 in it, okay? That check will bounce because there's not enough money in my bank account for the bank to withdraw the money and give it to person B. But because it takes a couple days for a check to process, that is how people write fraudulent checks, because it will process in the beginning, and then once the bank runs all the info and then goes to my bank to withdraw the money, they're going to be like, "Wait, there's not enough money. There's $50 in this account, not 1,000. So that is what these scammers do. That is one method, right? So the way it works is you guys will talk about a commission. And let's say you guys agree that the commission is $100. Then the scammer will write you a check and they will accidentally write it for too much money. Instead of $100, they add an extra zero and they will write you a check for 1,000. They will give it to you and you will take a photo of the front and the back, cash the check. You don't get the money yet, okay? because your bank didn't process the $1,000 check because it takes a couple days. There's like, it's like 1 to 3 days to process. But the scammer is going to be like, oopsies, I wrote you a check for $1,000 instead of 100. Can you send me the difference? And then you, being a kind person, will be like, oh, sure, of course, I don't want to accidentally take $900 from you. So you will, send them $900. I don't know, direct deposit them or PayPal them $900. And you'll be like, oh, here's the extra money you sent me. So sorry that happened, right? I don't want to take any extra money from you. But what you don't know is that your bank didn't process the check yet. So when your bank processes the $1,000 check, it's a fraudulent check. Like, the check links to a bank account that has no money in it. That check will bounce, which means it doesn't hits, right? You're not going to get the money from it because the bank account that the check links to does not have enough money. You're not going to get the $1,000. You're net zero, right? Because they gave you a $1,000 that you didn't get, but you're now down $900 because you gave them the $900 difference. And that's how they make money, because now they have a real $900 to work with. Can't you tell if the check has cleared from online banking? The thing is, it takes a day or two to process passions with like online banking, at least for me, because I've done online check deposits, whatever, right? I will take a photo of the front and the back of the check. It will deposit and my bank will tell me, all right, cool, we received this photo. It will take like a day or two for it to process and for you to receive the money. It will literally say that. If it's the weekend, it takes even longer because it won't process over the weekend. So it'll take like 1 or 2 days if it's during the week, and then 2 to 3 days if it's over the weekend, because it's gonna wait till Monday before it like will actually cash it. Checks do not instantly cash. At least in the US, it doesn't. If you were direct depositing, right, which is like literally from my bank account directly sending the money into your bank account, that's different. It's not like a written piece of paper, a check that you give to Bank B, and Bank B sees that and then has to run the information. Yeah, Cozy. Yeah, of course, right? You would wait for the money to clear before sending anything. But what these scammers do is sometimes they'll guilt trip, right? Let's say they gave you the fraudulent $1,000 check, and then you get the check, right? And then if you say, you're like, oh yeah, of course I'm down to send you the money, but let me just wait for this $1,000 to clear first, right? But they might try to guilt trip you. And depending on like how empathetic you are, you might actually fall for it, right? I'm not saying that you're vulnerable to being scammed or like you're gullible, but the thing is, the people who fall for these scams are nice people. That's the thing. They get like kind, nice people because they'll fall for it, right? Because of course, if you're kind and thoughtful, you're like, oh, of course I don't want to accidentally take an extra like $900 from you, because the scammers will probably say something like, oh my god, I accidentally sent you $1,000, like I have to pay my bills in the next 2 days, and like tomorrow my rent is due, and like I won't be able to make rent, and my landlord's gonna cut my electricity, and I have a kid that I need to feed, and because the electricity is gonna be cut, I can't cook food for my kid, and like we're gonna die out here unless you give me the 900. You know what I'm saying? Like the scammers will play on your emotions to try to get the money back. And if you're more cold-hearted, you hit them with the, I didn't get the 1K though, so I'm just gonna wait for the money to hit and they'll send it back to you. Trust me. But the scammer a lot of times prey on nice and vulnerable people, like kind people. Checks are not very common. It's really uncommon now, but that's like the MO of the scammer, right? The MO of the scammer is that they won't take any other payment info. So if we saw the DMs here, right? The scammer is like, I can't use any third-party apps like PayPal because I have issues with my bank. I was scammed, but I really want a commission. So can you do a mobile check? Like the scammer is specifically asking you to do a mobile check, which is not common at all. It's really not common because it's just easier to Venmo, to direct bank transfer. It's just easier. It's faster. But what about you just cancel the send and wait for them to get you the right amount? That unfortunately doesn't work in my hypothetical example, right? Because if you sent, it depends on how you sent the money back, right? Like if you sent the money back via a direct deposit, then you can't really get the money back. If you sent the money back through like PayPal, you can dispute it in PayPal. So then it would depend on how you sent the money back. That's basically how the scam works. I want to explain the scam, how it works to you so that you guys don't fall for it, right? That's how the fraudulent check scam works. They write you a bad check from a bank account that doesn't have enough money in it. So that's kind of how it works. But back to Lou's thread, red flag number 9, Lou writes, they will price your own work for you and they'll overshoot what we small artists charge for it. They'll overshoot by a lot. They want you to be impressed and show generosity, usually gets people who need money into risky situations. That's just plain cruel. And that's what I said again too, right? These scammers, the people who fall for it are always the kindest, nicest people that are empathetic because they were in a place of struggle or are currently in a place of struggle. And so when you see the money, you fall for it. It sucks. It always affects the nicest, kindest people. So here the scammer writes, and I love a sketch and also one exactly like this. So the other would be a sketch and one would be the same. I don't really know what they're getting at here, the scammer. And Lou says, got you. And the scammer says, so the two would be how much? $400. And Lou says, oh, I charge less. It would be around 200. So you can see again, the scammer overshot by a lot for the amount. And here's what they do too. The scammers hook you because they give you a deal that sounds way too good to be true. So it pressures you in the amount of time. It pressures you on time because you see this deal, it sounds way too good to be true. And if you are in a more vulnerable position where you need the money, you will be more inclined to take it because you're going to be afraid, oh, if I take too long to think about it or whatever, they're going to back down. And here's this opportunity, right? You get sold on this idea, this opportunity. And again, it always happens to the kindest, most vulnerable people. Always. Continuing with the thread, Lou writes, red flag number 9, same as above. Over generosity and eagerness to pay. They're not even with the sketch. This hasn't even been an hour. They don't have any work from me, but oh god, they are so ready to pay. You need to know they want to pay you so bad. LMAO, yeah, it's working out. So the scammer writes, but I think they mean but when they say buh, right? Like, but I'd love to give you extra if you don't mind because I really love the art. It's very good. You're a great artist. I'd love to add an extra $50 to each. That would be $300. What do you think? And Lou says, that's too generous, OMG. You don't have to. And the scammer says, I really appreciate your work. I do, you know, when you appreciate something, you give it your all, and that's what I'd be doing. And I'm really glad this is working out. This is, again, way too like really, really, really enthusiastic. And this is what's weird too. This is the red flag, right? This scammer is so enthusiastic to give you money, but really, really not enthusiastic on using any other payment method except mobile check. That is just weird, right? You're this enthusiastic to pay, but you can't use Zelle. You're not enthusiastic enough to try to get your Zelle to work. You're not enthusiastic enough to try to get your PayPal to work. You're not enthusiastic enough to get your Cash App to work. Like any other more reputable payment method, you can't do. So Lou writes, this one is just hilarious, bro. I can't even. Anyway, let's continue. And Lou writes, wouldn't you rather wait for the sketch so you can see how I work? And the scammer says, I know you do really great with it. And Lou writes, red flag number 10. They don't know me. They don't follow me. They broke every rule on my TOS. They're making me go through a payment method I am unfamiliar and don't use. They don't care for my process. They're not interested in my sketch. Be adamant about your rules and processes. So the scammer says, I make the payment later today, so you know I'm serious with this. I just need your mail, your bank name, and your full name for the check. And Lou says, okay, just a sec as I gather the info. And they say, okay, that's good. I'll be waiting. Wait, what do you mean your mail? Like your address? You don't need the other person's address for a check. That's not how that works. Your bank name and your full name for the yeah, wait, this is like different level too. This is not even like sending you a fraudulent check. This is like they're asking for more info that is not even needed. You don't put somebody's address on a check. Like you put their name, you put what the check is about, right? Their name and then like, I don't know, rent. And then you put the amount and that's it. And the date, sorry. The date. You don't need their bank name and you do not need their mail. You don't need their email or their address, whichever the mail is referring to. So Lou says, now for the beautiful closure of this. Have a TOS. Don't bend the rules for randos. Use invoices. Be sure you're safe. Use forms if you'd like. Request through DMs and Discord are common for other artists. I personally don't like it. I have ADHD. So Lou writes, my email is idon'tfallforscams@you'rebadathis.com. My name is do something better with your life. The bank name is come on man, you're not even trying. I'll be sending the sketch once I get your payment of not sketchy 500 USD for Vampire Goku staking himself through the heart on a state of euphoria. Pleasure working with you. So Lou writes, being an artist on an online space is dangerous. If you need help, poke an artist you know, see how they operate, and if it fits you. Most of them would help you. Red flag number 11, Goku isn't even on their icon. This is the account that tried to scam me. That is wild. No profile photo, no banner, nothing. It's 50-50, you know? Lou did say that it's a little bit of a red flag if somebody is asking for art of a character. I think personally there's nothing wrong with that if they do seem like they have a strong affinity for that character, right? And this bro looks like he has absolutely no affinity for Goku whatsoever. Like none. No Goku profile photo, no post about Goku, no Goku banner, right? That is weird. That is weird. And Lou continues, please do not interact with them. They're clearly a scammer. Do not feed their account. Don't make them noticeable. Just report if you must interact. Please don't at them or message them. It is weird that person has shown no desire, affinity, interest for Goku on their social medias whatsoever. I could get it if they were like Goku's #1 fanboy, but they do not seem like they are. So make it make sense. It's not really making sense to me right now. So that is a big, big, big weird red flag. I know, disrespecting Goku out the gate too. But yeah, I think this thread was a really, really, really well put together thread by Lou. So big shout out to Lou, who goes by the Twitter handle Luwhart, for writing this. I hope I'm reading their name right, because I really don't think I am. Protect yourself, guys. Artists, like Lou said, make a TOS, protect yourself. If it sounds good, too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And here's the thing, there are really, really generous people that commission artists. There are. But typically when they tip, they also tip at the end. They don't really tip in the beginning of the art process. So again, it's like a little too good to be true. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done a fair amount of commissions in my past. I don't really do them anymore. And I've gotten, you know, people tipping generously when I'm done. They don't tip like that before I finish the piece because I'm not done yet. And it's one of those like too good to be true. They're like glazing you. They're like laying it on thick and trying to make really, really excited for the money, the amount they're gonna give you, the potential of working together, whatever. So then you get really excited and then you don't think about any of the red flags they're showing you because there is. It's a lot of red flags. Scammers do be scamming, guys. Art is a luxury. And if you do have a little extra to tip your artist, I'm just saying your artist would more than appreciate that. As an artist myself, when people tip, like, and I don't need the money now, but back in the day when I did, right, I was fucking like mind blown over the moon. Like, people like my art enough to like give me a little extra something for boba, like, made my freaking day.